Hi guys, and welcome to the Love King story. I've got my flowers for ambiance in the background, and I've got red lipstick. I don't know when last I wore red lipstick. It must have been, I don't remember. Anyway, so this video is basically about how I got my company off the ground, 5 things I did great and I think those things were amazing, and 5 things that I did terribly, and how I plan maybe to recover from them, or how I have recovered from them, or maybe how you guys can maybe avoid them if they are even in your radar of possible things to do wrong. So welcome to my channel. Love Kings is an idea that started 4 years ago. The first part was to host masterclasses with some of my followers to basically share the tips that I had been working for me, that I had been sharing on Instagram and YouTube, on a one-on-one sort of setup. The reason behind this one-on-one setup is that I realized that I retain a lot of knowledge and skill when I see something being done, when something is being done on me. There's a lot of head tips that I actually only learned because I was in a setup where it was being done on my head, or in a setup that I was seeing it being done on others. So these masterclasses have actually been going on for the last 4 years. The last 2 were cancelled this year because of COVID. But we will carry on next year. The second part of my Love King story was leaving my 9 to 5. So I'm a qualified urban and regional planner. I've got an honors BSc degree in that. So leaving my 9 to 5 was a heavy task. It was not easy at all. This is something I get a lot. People asking me, how can I leave my full-time job to be an influencer? So this is not an easy thing. So number 1, I had to secure an income that covered my basic needs first. So I got a contract from one of the companies that I worked with 2 years ago, and they gave me enough money basically for the year to cover my rent. So I was like, if my rent is covered, then I'll be okay. Then I trust myself enough that if things get bad enough, I can get another job. And if I cannot, I will try and look for influencer work. So what I did is that there were a few natural hair companies that had been wanting to work with me, but I couldn't work with them because I was in a 9 to 5. So I called 2 of them and they gave me work. So the initial 1-year contract, those 2 were enough for my car rent for the year. So I had to get my parents on board. So I flew home April 2018 just to tell my parents about my move. And because I got their basically thumbs up, not really thumbs up, like knock yourself out, but we trust you, we think that you make good decisions, and if you're not going to need anything, go ahead. So I think that calmed down some of my sort of disapproval anxieties that we usually do experience. Like if our parents don't approve of something that we're doing, it sort of doesn't make us like sleep well at night. That covered that. The third thing that I did is that I focused a lot on my content. So I started uploading on Instagram every single day. I read up on how I can increase my following. The main thing that stood out in everything I read was content. So to improve your content and to make your content consistent, and to make sure that whatever you're talking about makes sense, and basically what you're talking about is satisfying a need in humans. So my main thing was basically sharing what works for me in taking care of my hair. So the whole of 2018 I was working with Rutos, and I had the Vaseline contract, and so that kept me going. So I registered my company in 2018. That's the best thing that I've done to date. Automatically when you register your company, you're registered for tax. So tax is something that you need to start preparing yourself for from get-go, right? So you need a tax clearance certificate for a lot of things, the bigger your company gets. So I would say register your company. That is one of the best things that I've done. Okay, so actually let me put it in bullet points. So number 1, so I left my 9 to 5 to focus on what I wanted to do and what I wanted to grow. I didn't just leave my 9 to 5 out of the blue and just hope for the best, right? Or go look for work after leaving my 9 to 5. Number 2, I registered my company. Number 3, I got rid of all financially taxing situations in my life. So friends that I felt like the only time we can spend time together is if we're at a restaurant where we spend upwards of 600 Rand on drinks and a plate of food, I cut that out. So I sat down some of my friends and I was like, I love you guys, but unfortunately I cannot afford the lifestyle anymore. I do not have a 9 to 5 salary that is sort of like partnered with the side hustle, which was my Instagram. This is all I'm doing now. So I cut out anything that needed over and above my rent and my car and my food. I'm a person where if I'm at home, I want to be able to have my MCC and have my ribs. So I made sure that my home was comfortable, in the sense that I had nice food to eat, because I was stuck at home basically for the whole year because I couldn't afford to go out. The 1 or 2 times that I did go out was with like one of my closest friends or with family who understood my situation 100%, so we wouldn't be like splurging. So we'll have a nice meal at Jameli with a few, like maybe 2 cocktails, and that's actually enough. You don't have to buy a bottle after a bottle. So I feel like a lot of people, when they're planning their way forward and they're trying to raise money to do whatever they're planning for, the money is just like leaking. So it's leaking on weekends where you wake up on a Monday morning and you're like, oh my God, I spent 4,000 Rand this weekend, and then you don't understand why things are just not clearing up or working out. It's because every weekend you're spending all the money that you need to actually make your business work. Cool. The 4th thing that I did was introduce a product that I fully believed in. So I had been gifted with a number of satin pillowcases from different companies, and I will not lie to you when I said after a month of using satin pillowcases, my skin and my hair was so different, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is life changing. So I kept it to myself. I googled, I searched everywhere, and then I told a group of, actually this is one of my favorite turning points. I was when I invited us to a gathering where it was just females. Actually there were some males, and we used to talk about our lives and what we were planning, and I told them, listen, I want to start an app, or I want to start this, and I want to do this, but it is around love kinks. So everyone was throwing out ideas, and then basically I got a network of people where I could find out about resources that I needed for my business. So from this group, I found someone who helped me with camera stuff. So someone told me what camera to buy, what lights to buy. That's why I didn't buy the ring light, and I bought soft boxes because she suggested them. So that improved my income on YouTube tenfold. So that was also helping me sustain myself and then and grow my business. And then someone helped me find a place for material, labels, the works, seamstress, everything I got from literally that group. So that was a big catalyst to my growth. So after I did that, I introduced this product. What I did is that I took all the shortfalls of all the satin pillowcases I've ever used before, and I put them together in one product. I wrote that down, and I thought about it very clearly, and I tried the product over and over to make sure that it's absolutely perfect and it serves its purpose. I didn't like try to be cheap and buy the cheapest material. I invested in buying the most expensive material that I could find. And then my prices obviously were determined by the price of this material. So when I came into the market, my prices were seen as too high. So 350 for 2 satin pillowcases was seen as too high because you can get them for about 100 Rand, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick to this. And if this product is going to show my soul and my heart, it needs to be this best quality. So the products weren't selling. I thought at the time they were selling a lot, but they weren't selling a lot compared to what's happening now. So I was okay with the fact that I was investing all my money in buying the best products, and I wasn't making much from it. So that went on for a long time. So as people were doing research and were more aware of what the product benefits were, as I spoke about it more on Instagram, I gifted my parents, and I gifted a lot of people that also just got into it. So it was a learning sort of process. So after that, I moved myself into a better space for filming, for living, for mental health, a place with a lot of light. So I think the place that you stay in does determine your mood, and therefore does affect your work. So where I was staying, my apartment was extremely small, and I felt like when I'd wake up, I'd just already be like heavy, because I just felt like the walls were crowding on me, and basically it affected how I thought and how I processed my ideas. So moving to where I live now really transformed my life. The light and getting plants into my space really clears up my mind and leaves me with a happier mood, right? Number 5, the best thing that I've ever done is listening to my customers. So for a long time, I was basically telling my customers what to like. And because I enrolled in school, I enrolled for a postgraduate diploma in marketing management, and what they were teaching us there was how to grow your business with empathy, how to lead with empathy. In marketing communications, they taught us how to communicate with the customer and what you need to be looking out for and how to grow your brand equity. So that was just another major catalyst. So I basically, in December, I decided that I'm going to spend all my money on paying for school, and I was dead broke. Like in Jan, after I paid for my registration fees, I was dead broke, to a point where like my boyfriend would even say, don't worry about it, we'll sort it out, like don't stress about school fees. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to invest in this school thing, and every single thing that I've done since then has been based on school. Every single lecture that I had something to apply to my business. So the one major thing was to listen to my customers. Everything a customer says is important. Obviously, you're going to sift through the stuff that is not constructive, but I'm going to tell you, even the non-constructive stuff, there's something that you can learn from that. So everyone was like, Sino, we want dukes. So I was like, this duke thing for me, I don't like the narrative around it, because in a lot of memes, there's a lot of angry black women wearing dukes. So Tembi actually said to me, Sino, why don't you just challenge that narrative? Because if you're running away from it, and then you're basically saying that it's okay, like, or you're ashamed, or you're saying something other than owning it and doing with it what you wish. So I was like, okay, I'm going to improve this narrative, and I'm going to put in the minds of my friends and my reach as far as I can get, that a woman in a duke who's only wearing a duke to retain moisture can look put together and can look amazing. The first thing that I did for that was to make the dukes match with the satin pillowcase, and I made sure that I used the best quality material. What I recently did is that I went around Joburg and I bought as much of that material as I could find. From the store that I originally bought from, I bought out everything. So that was to secure my future in my business. So yeah, so I listened to the point of this step is the fact that I listened to my customers, and every single thing that I did was building on their insights. So taking the data basically that I get from them, building insights, and those insights actioning them into implementable actions in my business. So the duke, that transformed everything. The duke basically upsold the satin pillowcases, and it better created this idea of going to sleep on a pillowcase. So this way, I got to communicate my ideal of this perfect, good-looking pillowcase that you put that matches with your bedding, and basically that doesn't slip off your pillow, and that isn't made from thin satin. But at the same time, I incorporated my ideals into what customers wanted. So listening to your customers is very, very important, and your company actually has to be led by your customers. You have to love your customers, you have to respect them, and you have to find a way to implement into your structures everything that they say. You need to make sure that your supply chain is on lock. From where you get your material, where you get your labels, the person who's sewing, it needs to flow like a machine. So there's a lot of things that need to change in the supply chain before you get to the this optimum space of functioning well, right? So I didn't rush myself. I spent a year just basically perfecting everything, every aspect in how I basically get this final product. Yes, there were a lot of changes, and it was very tiring, and at times it felt impossible. At times I just slept and be like, this is never gonna work. And a month would go by where I was like, nah, it's not gonna work. And then something would happen, like I'd start researching again, and then I'd implement one action and things would start working out, and I'd believe in it again. So after 4 years, those few things really, really helped me. Okay. So one of the things that I regret the most is the whole taking orders via email thing. It is whack. It's whack. Don't do it. Yes, if you're getting smaller numbers, orders, yes, it works. But later on, it will be the worst thing you've ever done. Just get a website. You can get websites as cheap as 140 Rand, and the best websites are like not best, but I mean a great website like Shopify is about 600 Rand a month on their lowest plan, and their highest plan obviously is a little bit more expensive. So, but I mean 140 Rand a month in the beginning for a website that builds your database for you. It notifies people via SMS, via email, that does all your tracking, where you just have to click, say fulfill, put in the tracking number, and it's all done. Is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Even if you have 10 customers, that 140 Rand will come from the money that you're saving instead of going out for dinner all the time. So just get a website, do it from get-go, because if you don't do that, you will regret it. That is one of the biggest regrets. I've had so many mistakes made only because I thought I could do it on Excel. I used to get an order, get a POP, type in the person's name, surname, address, cell phone number, everything. That created so many errors. And obviously on Instagram I post a lot of I love the dogs and love the second cases, they're so amazing, but there is 0.5% of people that are really unhappy whether their product never gets to them because there was an error in this whole email situation. But with my website, with the website there is no errors, because it is just so proper. They notify you, there's emails, it's like an assistant. So you cannot do everything. You need to get the right people to do things, you need to get the right software to do things, and you need to give yourself to having a website. Don't wait for a perfect website. There's themes that you can use on websites that can make you create the best, put your best pictures, do all of that on the website. Take nice pictures, get a photographer for one day, do a shoot, and make your website look nice. Logistics is a big headache. You need to know how you're going to get your product from home to your customer in the best way possible, not even the cheapest way possible. For example, some courier companies do not go everywhere in South Africa. So if something needs to go to the Eastern Cape in a rural area in a hospital, they won't take it. So then they want to charge you 300 Rand or something, but then they're cheaper for everything else. So imagine having to have 3 different courier companies, one because it's cheaper for doing this, and one because they go to the rural areas. You just need to have one and calculate what the average spend will be, and if you need to charge 10 Rand per delivery to the game for efficiency, rather do that. You'd rather be more efficient than waste time trying to dribble the ball between the best suitable, dribble the package that you need to send between the best possible courier. You don't want to do that. You want to be efficient. You need to work out your logistics, how you're going to get your products to your customers. Lockdown obviously created a lot of delays, but you need to really manage expectations. You could experience a death in the family, and you've given a 3 working day turnaround time for your deliveries. Then what would happen? So that 3-week buffer that I give myself, a person can order and they'll get the product tomorrow. But things do happen where you run out of stock, where you count it, but then there's just 3 that you miscounted, and you need to manufacture that, or you need to go find the material for that. So you really need to give yourself room to figure out logistics, and logistics in South Africa is not the easiest thing. So you need to pay a lot of mind to logistics. And then last but not least, when your company is up and running and everything's going great, you need to not stress yourself too much. You need to not emotionally engage with every positive and every negative comment. Yes, acknowledge, and yes, listen to your customers, like I said. But if a person is disappointed because Aramex I had a parcel that took over 14 days to get to their customer. I also have another parcel that still hasn't arrived that I said during stage 4 lockdown. But I need to deal with Aramex in a calm, well-mannered way to say, hi guys, this package still hasn't arrived. What can I do? Because if you're screaming at Aramex and then you're losing your mind, you're going to be unhappy. So you need to make sure that you maintain a good level of happiness. Yes, my therapist has also already helped me because I struggle to control my emotions all the time. So he helps me with a lot of pointers on how to better manage everyday stuff, because you cannot control everything. Nothing is in your control actually. As soon as you deal with another human being, control is gone. Give it up. So have expectations of realistic expectations of, okay, I need Aramex to deliver this package and I've paid them. But if Aramex ships, for example, yesterday Aramex took one of my Johannesburg customers' parcels to Cape Town. Then they called me saying I need to pay for it to come back to Cape Town. I said to them, unfortunately, I didn't make that mistake. Please make sure that it comes back to Joburg. I'll return it to my house, and then I'll make a plan. And then the lady was like, I don't understand what you're saying, but eventually she understood. Oh, okay, this parcel got shipped by mistake. But had I just lashed at them, they would have just dropped the phone on me, and then no one's happy. But anyway, so yeah, other things that I would have done differently. Number one, as much as you need to be empathetic, you need to make very business sound decisions. Your decisions cannot always be based on friends, giving friends the work that you need to be doing. You need to work with people that you are not emotionally attached to. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying that works for me, because the minute you say, sorry, this is not the quality that I want, what happens is that they're like, no man, you know how you are, friend, like you're very finicky, or you pay too much attention to detail, you know what I mean? So you need to work with people where you can say, I need this by Monday, and they're going to deliver it to you because they've got no emotional ties to you. It's just business. So everyone that I have now in my structure are people where I can say, I have an instruction, and I can go to bed confident. I can sleep at night knowing that it will be done without a lot of emotional baggage, because that does stress you out. And if you're stressed out and your mind is boggled, things do not work out well. Okay, another thing that I did not do is that I thought too small. I did not think big enough. I think this comes from just not understanding what is possible, and maybe not understanding how influential I was to my target market, which is my beautiful following of ladies that want to take care of their natural hair. So I basically just didn't believe that I could maybe sell something to them at the scale that I am right now, and then so I didn't have the mechanisms in place for a big boom. So my supply chain couldn't handle 1,000 orders in a day. I was selling 40 sets of pillowcases in a month to now selling 1,000 almost every second day. So I was thinking too small, and actually you need to really think bigger than you're currently thinking. Like if you're thinking that's big, you need to think bigger, just in case, because if you're thinking too small, it makes your thoughts small, it makes your actions small, and therefore it makes everything small. So it's not that the idea is not good enough, it's just that you're thinking too small. So you're not giving this idea breath, you know? Okay, and then number 3, surround yourself with people that believe in you. My best friend believes in me. My best friend breathes life into me. Like on a daily basis, she's like, you're doing so well, you're so amazing, you can do this, and then the person that I'm quite close to it now as well, he literally like all the time would say, you are going to have the best products in Mzansi, or you got the best hair in Mzansi, and I'd be like, stop saying that doesn't make sense. But like, it's stuff that just breeds I'm thinking bigger into you, and stuff that drives you and that makes you want to believe that maybe what if I could have the best natural hair products, you know what I mean, that I could create them, and what would I need to do to create them. So you don't just wake up and say I'm gonna have the best natural hair products. You say, okay, if I want to have the best natural hair products, what do I need to do? I need to make sure my formulation is perfect. I need to make sure my branding is perfect. I need to make sure my marketing budget is not slacking. I need to make sure I use influencer marketing. If I'm going to use influencers, or where they need to create content for you, you're going to pay them. You're not going to ask people to do things for free, because you're not going to get the best outcome that you want. So those kind of things. You need to think big. You need to surround yourself with people that breathe life into you. So I think in the beginning I didn't do that enough. So I believe when, like for example, someone used to say to me, oh my gosh, you're so lazy. Why don't you just get a 9 to 5? Like all you want to do is sit on this couch. So I used to believe stuff like that. So the third thing that I didn't do well was that I didn't surround myself with enough people that believed in me. Another thing that I didn't do is that I didn't find a bookkeeper or / accountant early enough. So I was doing everything myself. Like I was going to SARS, trying to understand. You cannot be everything. I wanted to be the car, the fuel, the oil, everything to get the car moving. And the driver. So you just need to be the driver, but your car can be manufactured in Germany. So you need an accountant to actually, or a bookkeeper to make you understand how money works. What's the point of having a product, putting a price on it, you don't even know how much you'll be paying for tax, or you don't even understand that. You need people to help you. So I didn't have enough people helping me. I was doing everything from beginning till end. So you need to be able to to let go of control so that you can allow people to help you. And the last thing that I really would have changed about my company is that I would have not released my designs online as soon as I did, because I would design something, get it made, the next day it's up. So now I need to give it at least 6 months for something to I need to give it at least 6 months for my idea to get protected and everything. And also I need to, another thing that you must do when you create something, make it so distinct that if someone else copies it, it cannot be yours. So you know how LV has the LV on it, or they have, I forgot what the names of those different styles are called. So the brown one is called something, the white one is called something, and the one with the LV is called something else. So those are distinctly theirs. They can patent that, or maybe like do a design protection thing. So anyone else who makes a bag cannot do that. So you need to create a product that's so distinct that if it's copied, it's not going to be like yours. Another very important thing that I did was I did my trademarks. Yes, you can do your trademarking yourself on the CIPC website, but again, if you're trying to do everything and you're trying to be the master of everything, it's not going to work out. So eventually I let go of control and I let Adams and Adams, who are the best actually IP lawyers, handle that. So my trademarking, they're doing it. The looking into what can be protected and what can't be protected design wise, they do it. So at least I can sleep well at night knowing that I can trust someone with it. So the money that you are saving is the money that you invest in. So the 1,000 rand that you weren't spending at dinner on a single night is the money that goes into the lawyers. So the money is there, but you just need to direct it to the right thing. So you need to do your trademarks, you need to patent, you need to have a 100% new idea. So patent doesn't always apply. So you need to do a design protection if you do have a design that you feel like is distinct enough. And then you need to, trademarking is very important. Trademark is an asset. Like a trademark is something that you can actually use to even get funding for a business idea. So if you trademark your company and your company is worth something, let's say in 5 years, you'll be able to use that trademark as leverage. So yeah. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope that I've covered a lot of questions that a lot of people have asked me before. I can't go into every DM and address everything as thoroughly as I would like to, because it's just not humanly possible. But this video, I think, is a better way to address a lot of things, obviously at a bigger scale, and not at such an involved, and obviously not at an involved scale. I hope this helps, and see you next time.